Hey Trailblazers, welcome to week 2 of Thessalonians chapter 2 and week 7, I know it seems like it's been a long time, of our Thessalonians series. We're going to roll the bumper here in a second, but today we're going to be talking about what it means to stand firm in our faith. Let's roll the bumper. Hey guys, welcome back. We are so excited to be with you this morning as we tackle the second chapter of Thessalonians 2. Now this is a kind of an interesting message because for you, your faith is probably still developing. It's still becoming your own. That's a natural part of growing up. But there are some things that we want to say we can stand firm upon. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And so our verse comes from 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and it's verse 15. It goes like this. With all these things in mind, dear brothers and sisters, stand firm and keep a strong grip on the teaching that we passed on to you both in person and by letter. I want to begin with a little bit of a story. When I was growing up, I spent a lot of time with different kids in my neighborhood when I was your age. And certain kids in my neighborhood, they were good influences on me. Other kids in my neighborhood were less good influences on me. And I remember one specific time when I had a friend who was just down the street from me. It was 3 houses over on the alley, who really was a person who liked to get into some trouble. Now, I am a proponent of getting into a little bit of trouble now and again. I think that's an okay part of growing up, and I got into my fair share of trouble. But he wanted to get in trouble in a way that was a little bit more than what I would think is just part of growing up. He wanted to take rocks, and he wanted to throw them at other people's windows. That was his idea. And we were very young. We were, I think, only 7 or 8 years old at the time. But he knew from experience that if you took a pretty hefty rock and you threw it pretty hard and you were close enough, you could break somebody's window. Well, for him, this was a no-brainer. It was fun, he could run away, and he didn't have to think about the consequences. But I had grown up with two parents who really instilled in me the ideas of being kind to your neighbors. In fact, they didn't just instill those ideas to me because it was what they thought was a good idea. They instilled them into me because they knew that that was part of the gospel, part of the Bible, part of the story that Jesus told to us, and that has been passed down for the last 2,000 years by people like Paul. They knew that it was important to treat others with dignity and respect, to not unnecessarily harm other people. And so when my friend told me that he wanted to do this and that I should come along, I remember there was a moment. There was a moment when I had to think, am I going to stand firm in what I believe, in what my parents have passed on to me, their belief structure? Or am I going to waver? Am I going to bend to the what seems good in the moment? Am I going to go with the crowd? In this case, my very best friend. And friends, I'm very excited to tell you that in that case, I made the right choice. I said, we can't do this. I don't want to do this. And so my friend, he went off and he wound up taking a rock and throwing it through the window of his own dad's car. He didn't really think about the consequences of his actions, and it made his dad really upset. I saw his dad get really upset, in fact, because I was just a couple doors down. And what happened was he felt so bad. He was so disappointed in his son for doing this very careless thing. And I remember my friend coming to me later and saying, "You were right. We shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have been there. We shouldn't have acted in this way." Now, some things are just part of growing up. Sometimes we make mistakes that we don't even know are mistakes at the time. But what I want to tell you this morning, what I want you to take home with you, is that you will have so many times in your life, even as young people like yourselves, to make decisions. And those decisions can have really big consequences. I know now, because one of the windows, that actually happened to one of the windows at the church, that it can be very expensive to replace a window that's been broken by a rock. And so I didn't know that then. I didn't understand the value of money and how much it could cost. But I just knew that it was not kind to do that to someone. And so, my encouragement for you, anything that you're learning in these videos, anything that your parents have taught you about God, these are things that are really important to stand firm in. There is going to come a time when you're going to learn different things, different belief systems than what your parents have imparted into you, and that's okay. It's okay to change and to question things and to believe different things than other people. But what's not okay is to take those very core things, loving your neighbor, being kind to others. Those things are things that we always have to stand firm in. And even if we don't understand why something's not a good idea, necessarily, it's really important that if we stand firm in those beliefs, we'll probably not waver and wind up in situations that are disastrous. And so, that is my encouragement to you this week from 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 15. To stand firm. To stand firm on the principles that we hold so dear in the church. That every person is worthy of dignity and respect, and that we are to love our neighbors, that we are to care about others, that we are to be kind to other people. I think if you get those two, just to care for others and to treat them with respect, you'll find that you'll avoid a lot of situations that you'd rather not be in. And so my encouragement to you this week, your assignment as it is for this week, is to have a conversation with your parents. What are the things that we believe? What are those substantial, important, never wavering things? And parents, those are going to be hard questions. So I hope that you think about them before just answering. But in the end, whatever those things are, I encourage you, even if you're young, you too can stand firm in those things. And so that's your encouragement. Have that conversation. Remember to stand firm, because I promise you, it will serve you well. I'll see you next week as we wrap up our Thessalonians series, and then we begin to look forward to what we have next. Grace and peace to each of you. So don't forget to subscribe. Parents, if you want to get this email every week, orlandhope.org is the place you can sign up. See you guys next week. Excited to be with you. Thanks for watching.